It's time to take it.
Okay. Can you let him do his intro?
More power.
More power.
Fireflies of all ages. My name is Sterling Spencer, also known as the ace trainer of South Silly, of West Willie, the Living Codex, and I'm here again to welcome you to an episode of The Blurred Bar.
Blurred Bar.
Now, as you can see, the party has been doubled up. Double the power, double the blurred, double the black excellence right here. So I'm going to introduce my peoples. Then I'm going to let the ladies introduce themselves. Kicking it to the left, the man with the plan. They call him Dan. He do what he can. Talk to the people.
That's right. It's Big Dan, a.k.a. This Body was brought to you by Lasagna.
Stop.
Let me be great. Secondly, I'm your comic book connoisseur, your Somali of sci-fi and superheroes, here to welcome you to another episode of The Blurred Bar, my barflies. How y'all doing? Yes. Now listen, I am never by myself. One more time. Thank you.
It just didn't feel right.
It doesn't feel right if you don't do three.
Didn't feel right, man.
I am never by myself. Even when these two guys are not here, or when they are here, there's still other people who are with me because I have kids. However,
It's true.
passing it over to my far right,
It
it is the Hawk from the heavens.
Yo.
Talk to him, J. Hawk.
Hey, tis I.
Yes.
Helen from the land of Sage, Shinobi, and Samurai.
Uh.
The boy is Godzilla personified. I can't rap. I'm sorry. No other name but this to go by. It's your boy Jayhawk.
It actually still played out on beat, so
yeah,
you're
you
fine.
did great, man.
Oh, wow. Was it the heartbeat rhythm? Was that the parametric with her?
It's just preaching,
So
bro.
we are.
You know the Shakespeare thing?
Stop! That is
Ionic-
not what this is about.
Ionic pentameter. Thank you. Yeah. Jillian, back us up here.
Yes.
I want to go home,
Back
but
up,
the
Dan.
crazy part is I'm already home.
Got it.
Yeah.
But we're done with our introductions. Please. All right, wait. Are y'all our sister podcast or our cousin podcast? Let's figure
I
this out.
say sister podcast.
Sister's
Yeah, I like
cool.
sister.
Yeah.
All right, kicking it to our sister podcast. Talk to the people in whatever order you choose.
I'll go first.
Okay.
I am Jenna. I am 1/3 of Blurred on the Street. And we are sort of still in our infancy of our podcasting, but I'm really happy to see where this journey leads us. I have two great co-podcasters who you will hear about in a few seconds. I am mostly active on Instagram on Philly Girl JL. That's PhillylGirljl, no spaces. And just looking forward to doing more podcasts.
It's always a dope thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
We're fans.
We are.
Great.
I'm going to switch it up this time because while we already have established that Jenna and Lily are sisters, their fusion is Jillian.
Hey.
That's it.
So, Jillian, do you mind introducing yourself and telling us how you're doing today?
Sure thing. So I'm Jillian. I am another third of the Blurred on the Street. And I'm doing all right. It's been a weird week. If anybody's, you'll probably be listening to this in the future, but at the time of this recording, Mercury is still in retrograde. And if you are a subscriber to that kind of spirituality, it's been a weird week for me, to say the very least. But I'm doing great because I'm finishing out Mercury in retrograde with you guys, and already like my day's going so much better. You know, it's
Right,
not
the
often you
podcast
like
aligned.
meet new people and just kind of click, and I really appreciate that. You know, it's kind of like, are you guys cool? Yeah, we're cool. Are you guys cool? Yeah, we're cool. Okay, cool. So we're gonna hang out now.
Can we just become best friends?
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. So there's three of
Alright.
us, there's three of you. I think it's great.
and Josh didn't put up his thumbs.
Sorry.
So
I nodded though. I
no,
did
that's,
too.
it wasn't
Great
enough.
vigor.
It was not enough.
Great vigor
You-
was my nodding.
You failed us all,
Nah,
and so I'm gonna move on
we're
because
moving on.
the hurt is still raw. And Lily,
What have I
If-
done?
please introduce yourself before this
Hi.
evolves.
Hi, I am Lily. You can find me at Elise on Life on Twitter. That's ALISEONLIFE. And Lily PHL on Instagram, LILLIEPHL. And I mostly talk about TTRPGs, about different crafting stuff, and about reading because I love reading. And I want
Ooh.
everybody else to love it too.
Because reading is fundamental.
It's true.
It is.
It's true.
It really
Lily,
is.
I would love to hear. I mean, not now, but like at some point, I would love to continue talking about new Black sci-fi authors because as of right now, I
Yes.
only have like one in my mind, and I feel like there has to be more.
Yeah.
But like, I would
Mhm.
love to like delve into that with you one time.
Yeah. I mean, strictly sci-fi or like sci-fi fantasy kind of.
It could be sci-fi
Either.
fantasy. It yeah,
Cyberpunk.
yeah, all of the fun stuff.
All of them.
I
Mhm.
think urban fiction is not quite my twist.
Mhm.
You don't want to hear about elves on iPhones? Come on, man.
That would be interesting.
But that's not what he meant.
Yeah.
That's very niche.
Not what he meant.
Elves on iPhones.
Let us know when you read that book. Just let us know when you read that.
I mean, really.
Oh man.
Y'all laugh now.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
Sterling's leaving the blurred part. That's right. I got signed, blown up. What's up?
The only one to make it out. Elves on iPhone. Oh man. Well,
Collection of short
There is actually an author who writes a series in which teleporters use cell phones in order to, like, they have to hear the person who they want to teleport to. And so they call them on their phone and then teleport. Like,
Got him. See, that's why I don't answer spam likelies. See?
Scam
People just
likelies.
pipe it up.
with extended warranties. They right in your face.
Y'all are great. Y'all are great. This is
Well, if you have listened to our last episode where we had Blurred on the Street join us, we talked about our top 5.
top 5.
The MCU.
Dead or alive.
No. It was the MCU movies.
Sorry.
And
that's really intense.
I would love to talk.
All right, go ahead. I'm
Um,
just gonna pour me that.
Okay, enjoy yourself. We talked about our top 5, right? And so I thought it would be a really great idea to have you guys back and talk about our bottom 5 because I feel like that would have, the first one was very much a get to know you guys, but this one would definitely be more of like you got feelings about some of these MCU movies, and we want to hear those feelings. And so I feel like we can jump right in. Normally, at the Blur Bar, we partake of the enjoyment of the liquid kind, and
The libation.
yes. So, if you have something in the cup, feel free to enjoy. That's what we do here at the Blurred Bar. And I would like for Jillian, who has a background in art and film, to tell us about her bottom 5. And if you got feelings
Oh,
about one
boy.
of these specific bottom 5, let the fire fall.
Need to know.
Okay. All right, happy to start. Okay, so my bottom 5, I guess they're in order. They are based on how annoyed I was throughout the movie, and then thinking about it when I walked out of the theater. Was I more annoyed? Yes. That's how they got on there.
That's some criteria.
Yeah. Okay.
Baka ruthless,
So,
yo.
the first one is Thor as a Dark World. Okay. I'm gonna save my feelings for later. All right. Captain Marvel is the next one. Avengers Infinity War. Avengers Age of Ultron. And Iron Man 3.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So, main feeling, Iron Man 3, I wish I liked more, but knowing about the Mandarin going into it and then seeing how they kind of ripped that apart and threw it away in Iron Man 3 kind of bothered me.
Yeah.
Captain Marvel, I really wanted to like. The main shining spot was Lashana Lynch. She was phenomenal, but that movie was just so like very I want to say like contrived feminism.
Wow.
Like it's what you would expect.
This is where we be quiet
to happen, but it's like they didn't do it any new way. It's like, yeah, Carol's great and strong and like she can punch through planets and that's great, but like, you know, I don't know. I just
But what has she done for me lately?
Do you need a minute?
Exactly.
Ooh, that was a hot take.
Yeah.
Anything else you wanted to spawn upon?
Thor: The Dark World. I was just sitting in the theater like this the whole time.
Need I go on?
I was like, okay. And at the end, I was like confused because like up until that point, really, I had pretty much liked every Marvel movie that had come out, like generally, and I was just like confused why I didn't like it.
Why am I here?
I thought something was wrong with me.
Oh no!
Have I been wrong?
I was
this whole
young.
time?
This is like early 20s. This is early 20s.
Oh,
Yeah. But yeah, that's it.
I just want to let everybody know, like, I'm pretty sure the bots are gonna have spicier takes than us. Like,
no,
like, and
no,
it might just be like, you know, a fish swimming in water. Like I've been with these guys, so I might be used to it. But like, I feel like the bots are gonna have takes. I'm gonna be like. And like, and then they're clutching their girls and like, well, they said it. They must be fine with it. It's fine. It's recorded.
Yo, when she said the one about Captain Marvel, I was like, okay.
Yeah, man, y'all use a lot of $5 words. We ain't gonna be able to buy no vowels. Y'all out here. I'm trying to be like, no.
It's starting to be a little obvious who has the education background.
Yeah. We are just like,
Hey, we know Control Alt Delete.
speaking of Control Alt Delete, Josh, my guy.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
You bring up the task manager. You're the task manager.
Whatever.
Task.
You need to leave.
So,
You gotta go.
so,
We should have just all been in our own homes.
I'm hilarious.
That way I could have just like hung up on you when you said that and then just like I can't hang up with you because you're right here.
here's my bottom five. This literally has to deal with, because for me there are the top 5 like Marvel movies that, you know, go back and watch our previous episode, but those are like the great ones. Then there's a lot of like good ones, good Marvel movies,
Yeah.
and then like they have like 20 movies, so there's a lot of space for like
True.
So these movies are the most meh. And like, do I even remember like watching these? Some of them. One of them is not. First one I'm gonna say. But these are not in any particular order. Bottom 5. First up, we have on the list Black Widow.
What?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. This is not bugging. So I guess
Already?
I mean, everybody has their opinion.
Yeah. It
That is
just
true.
like, as a spy and action oriented movie, I was like,
I thought you were about to say, as a spy myself. It was not realistic.
It was not realistic.
as the one who works in the clandestine.
Friggin' son.
No, it was And you know what it is? It's because it's one of their newest ones
Uh-huh.
that I was just like, take it or
Okay.
leave it.
Okay.
So yeah, anywho. Second up on the list is Doctor Strange. I just could have once again, I think I expected more from it, and it did
Really?
not. Also, like I literally can't remember it. I remember that I
It has
watched
Mads
it.
Mikkelsen.
I watched it. I cannot remember it.
It did have Mads
Sorry.
Mikkelsen. Yeah.
Next up,
It wasn't enough.
It sure
it
did.
wasn't enough.
Maybe not.
Next up, we have Age of Ultron. Once again, I know I watched it, but it didn't move
It had
me.
James Spader.
Stop. You're embarrassing yourself.
Like anybody could look at the IMDb
Dude, I
page.
thought that hurt, man. That hurt. I thought we the social media coordinators. I thought we was here.
Yeah, he
It's
was
cool.
there.
I know now.
There's so much more than who is in the movie.
That wasn't right. It wasn't enough.
Don't hurt, man.
Next up, I have The Incredible Hulk.
I forgot that even counted.
I mean,
does count.
does it really count? That
I
counts?
rest
Yeah, does
my
that
case.
count?
It does.
I rest my case.
It counts because it is considered an MCU movie.
It is.
Okay.
Unfortunately,
It says
Okay.
Marvel Studios. Like,
yeah.
Okay.
It was just Universal Studios.
Well, so do a few other movies that weren't allowed to come into the top 5 episode, but okay.
didn't I say they had some smoke? Did I not say?
I was told that movies just had to be in the MCU. They couldn't just be
No.
Marvel
The Hulk
Studios
is in the
movies.
MCU. It is.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I know, but someone said a second ago it has the logo, but
That's
so
true.
do a lot of other very good movies that weren't allowed to
that's
come
true.
onto
Which
our
ones weren't
list.
allowed to come to
If
our
you
list?
take out the very good, then I would agree with everything.
Yes.
There's
Okay,
a
well, I
lot
mean,
of
I'm talking about
movies that weren't allowed
was
to be
not allowed to
included.
be a movie was not allowed to be included in my
Okay.
top 5. Is what I'm saying.
I'm sorry for that.
I want to know which one this is.
You want to redo the top 5
It's
episode?
okay. Okay, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is
That would have been
phenomenal.
in my
Yeah,
top 5.
that is heavily
Yeah.
Sony.
And it's
That's
not,
also
it's not
Yeah.
Marvel
It's
Studios.
very-
It's in association
Yeah.
with
It's
Marvel.
not
It's not
allowed.
Marvel
Yeah.
Studios. It's in association with Marvel.
Right.
That would be the only
Right.
deciding factor in there.
I know, but it still has the logo.
Jillian is
That's
coming
the
after
logo.
us. It's the details for
Details.
You
Jillian.
will not disrespect Miles Morales.
She's not. She's saying this in her top 5.
Syntax is
Do
everything.
not
Yeah.
disrespect that
I'm not mad at
boy.
her. I'm sorry.
I would agree that I would
All right,
agree
all
and
right,
say
I'm
that
done, I'm done.
had
done.
we allowed that, I would put Into the Spider-Verse in my
Of
top.
course.
It's
I
agreed.
think I
Yeah,
would.
I think
I
so
feel
too,
like
yeah.
I
Yeah.
saw it. It'll probably be my top 5.
I think I think that's agreed upon for everyone.
Yeah, that's a solid movie. Like,
Yeah.
from start to
Okay.
finish.
Yes.
My
yes,
last,
yes.
sorry, my last of the bottom 5, Captain Marvel. It was another movie where I know I watched it, but it didn't leave me with any feelings. And I tried to steer away from a lot of movies that, like, I think generally a lot of people hate. So, like, that's why Thor: The Dark World
What,
is
what
in
about
it.
Captain Marvel?
But like I said, I tried to. Like,
He made an effort. That's all that matters.
but then, like, yeah, Captain Marvel. It was just like, even looking back on it and thinking about that movie, I was like, but like, what did it do for me? Not
Nothing.
much.
Mhm.
So, sure, bottom 5. It didn't have anything to save it from the bottom 5. I'll say that. Yeah, so it's like,
But
get
it
out.
had Brie Larson. Ladies who would,
No.
who would like to go next.
Did you guys know that I heard this rumor that she and Samuel L. Jackson have a text thread where they just talk smack on other
believe
Marvel
it.
actors
I don't
that
believe,
they
I don't
don't
believe
like.
that for a
that.
second.
Time out. Sam Jackson don't have a text message thread
Oh,
about.
come
I was
I
about to say,
don't-
Sam, are we saying that Sam Jackson isn't petty? Like, I feel like he can be petty.
I mean, he is.
I think
Yeah.
he's really petty.
Yeah,
I,
yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I
Am
agree.
I the one who thinks he's like a beacon of professionalism?
No.
Jesus.
Have you
I think
not seen?
I think
not.
on set, yes, he is probably very
Have you
professional.
not seen his
So-
interviews?
Soon as the cameras turn off, he's
That's
like
yeah,
a
like,
totally different
Off
person.
hours, I could
Mhm.
totally see him being petty.
Sam
Mhm.
Jackson did not come in with like official acting training.
That is true. Yeah.
He just showed up one day and was like that bull.
McDowell.
Right.
I-
So
But that's not to say like I don't think that he's like I think he's a great person, but I think he can have his petty streak. And if his petty
he's
streak
human.
shows up
Yeah.
in a text with Brie Larson, like I can't like
Sam Jackson is
I'm not
casted because
surprised.
he's petty. Think about every iconic scene that Sam Jackson has been in. It is because he can bring forth pettiness at the drop of a hat. Pulp
Yeah.
Fiction,
Yeah.
like, yeah,
It's
he
petty timing.
he might be petty lord.
I wouldn't be
It's
surprised
awesome.
if him and RDJ have like a petty like
Yeah.
I don't think he likes RDJ. I personally feel
Let's,
that way.
all right.
But that's
bottom
another
five.
Right.
We
We
gonna
get
have a
way
whole
off topic here.
stay
Sorry.
on topic.
Blurred on the street. Who is your next
That's
champion?
my fault.
I will go
The champion.
because I do have feelings about bottom
Okay.
Ooh,
five.
okay. All right.
Lots of feelings. I think
Okay.
for me the criteria that I had for bottom five were movies that I could like get rid of from the lineup and
Mhm.
feel okay about. Like
Mm.
sleep so good at night
Trust me.
because they were gone. So topping that is Avengers Age of Ultron.
Okay.
Mm.
All right. Okay.
Definitely. There's a lot of stuff in there, but honestly, I don't like Wanda. And
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Here we
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. So
There you go.
Iron Man 3,
Okay. Yeah.
which
Sure.
I don't even know if I have to say anything about that.
You
It's
don't?
just-
I will. Don't worry about it. I got you. I got you. Don't even worry about it. I got you.
Is Avengers End Game, which I have aired my feelings out about End Game. So I feel like I'm not. It's just
I mean,
a
if you want to
little-
do it again, just for just
There's-
to feel better.
I just think there was just a lot of elements in there that ruined it for me as a movie. And
Okay.
one of them being how they had
Mm.
Clint doing his world tour through brown countries, just slaughtering people left and right because he lost his 2 little kids. Oh no, I'm sorry. 3. Sorry.
3.
Oh, you lost your kids? Oh no.
I mean,
Like nobody
look,
else.
everybody lost their kids. 50% of the whole universe disappeared. Like, what made Clint so special that he felt like this is a good idea?
I get where you're coming from. You are heard
I
and you are
just-
seen. You are welcome.
He's the one who had
Maybe,
the tools
I
to do
guess.
it.
I don't
I
know.
will say, while she's right, he went to brown countries and did this, but he was going after bad people. Like, it was the leader of the Yakuza. Yakuza.
I mean, that's
Think about the
I
damage
just don't
that
think-
the Yakuza have done.
I can't even. I
Yakuza.
literally can't even fathom that.
Right.
I'm not old enough. Anyway.
I just think that sometimes like there's always this question when it comes down to white people, but is it your job to do that? Did it need to be you?
Y'all have a blessed night. I ain't mad at him. I ain't mad at all. That's it.
Not this episode. If you want to get to that episode,
Whew, I wasn't ready.
I wasn't ready at all. But she was- man.
Dropping hard facts.
There's also Thor: Dark World.
Valid. That's a valid one.
But also I think in the grand scheme of middle movies that for individual Avengers, it really was average, right? Like a lot of the middle movies were not great. So and then Captain Marvel, which in my head is subtitled Feminism for TERFs.
Shit. Okay. All right.
How we got like wow?
Like,
How did we get here? We're not supposed to be here.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, I guess probably the cis white ladies were like very empowered when they left the theater. They just felt like they could do everything. It was like that end scene of Buffy when like all the girls were just like standing up. They were feeling themselves. They were like, I got this. But
I can't say nothing but sip my drink.
You know what? You know what scene really bothered me in Captain Marvel when she finally Brie Larson or Carol gets
whatever
her
her name is.
power, like her leash taken off, and then Jude Law is like telling her like, you don't want to attack me, prove that you're better than, you know, and then she like hits him with her powers like, I don't need you to tell me who I am. It's like, oh yeah, that was okay. We're doing it like this. We're doing it this it's just so like
it's
run
very
of the mill feminism. Like, yeah, that character really did need to get his ass kicked, but I was just like, the gaslighting of Jude Law was just like so expected.
it was very,
and then her response was just
and
so,
then
I don't
also
know,
I think like some of the stuff that fed off of that, right? So
yeah.
this is like a brief detour into WandaVision again. I just really felt like Black women got a raw deal from the setup at the end of Captain Marvel and then into WandaVision.
I just have to say
They are connected.
I just have to say that this feels like a great segue into like feminism and blurs and like blurs and feminism. And I think if we want to do that episode,
No. I think
I'm sorry. So I love to like, interview people and ask more questions about that.
Okay.
So like I was gonna say like we should probably be on theirs, but like it would be great to just have that conversation.
I would appreciate being a part of the dialogue although I feel like that's something that they should do.
Yes,
totally.
I just think like I would love to get more into it because as a guy, we can't understand that world.
Oh,
right.
No.
So it's like I would love to ask more questions and like just learn more. That's all. Yeah. I would love to do that at some point in time.
I don't know why I felt so scared just now.
No. I get it. We didn't want to mansplain. We didn't want to mansplain. We didn't want to like take over and be like,
you know what? What's interesting about Black feminism?
Right? Yeah. That's real. Like, I get it. I understand. I'm there with you. I think that's a great topic though for the bots to delve into. Like,
yeah,
that'd be great.
Definitely.
We appreciate y'all.
Let us know when that episode's up.
Yeah, we share it.
Okay.
We gonna share it.
We'll even send you like some questions about it. You you want to read them or whatever on the episode, great. But I don't think we should be anywhere near that. I feel like that is theirs.
Yes.
Yeah.
For our safety.
I don't know about that part.
Just for our safety, you know, you don't want to be caught in the crossfire. And then you be like, and you, and I'm like, wait. So So you know.
I'm sorry. Is that the end of your bottom five?
Was it?
That's it's Iron Man 3, Avengers Age of Ultron, Avengers End Game, Thor Dark World, and Captain Marvel.
All right.
Okay.
Whew. You might be right.
Yeah,
Josh, you're right. You're right. You're not wrong. They are coming in here swinging. I thought I was harsh.
I really appreciate the difference of perspective. Right. Because like I thought Captain Marvel was fine, and then this is an admission that I guess I have to be okay with saying on recording is like that scene that you were talking about, Jillian, where she's like, I don't have to prove anything to you. I was like, that's right, girl, you don't. You right. This is great. That's how I felt.
Right, that's the thing. Yeah.
Well, both things can be true. He did gaslight her a lot and take away her power, literally, and then was like, "Oh, now that you have your power, you need to prove that you're better than." It's like, no, shut up.
I was very prepared for a lot of overlap in the best films because I feel like it's generally agreed. Like there's a large chunk that most people, when you say a film, they go, "Oh yeah, you're right." But I wasn't as prepared for there to be as much overlap in the bottom films. But really, I don't really know why. Because I think the same
Because they're
applies.
generally bad.
Yeah, the same applies.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh yeah, every time you say it, people are like, oh yeah, that's true.
Mhm.
Who's very surprised about Black Widow? Anyway, my bottom 5 is not original. I am not an original guy. Now, the only reason that Endgame is not going to be on mine is because I kind of lumped Infinity War and Endgame together,
Mhm.
which
I think was the intent of
yeah,
Marvel and Disney.
Right.
and I really liked Infinity War, but I didn't really care for Endgame. Yo, like the last 35 minutes of Endgame, though, not even like. There's a chunk. The fight. That's it. That's
The Endgame fight. Yeah.
The fight. Everything else is like.
Oh, and on top of that, like time travel. But But
I still disagree that
our podcast just keep
Back to
making
the Future
making
wasn't
themselves.
BS.
Yo, it's great. I'm excited. We're gonna have a Rick and Morty episode. It's gonna be unbelievable.
I know.
Um, Bottom 5, real quick, because it's very easy. It's nothing that nobody's ain't heard. Age of Ultron. You know, I was going to put Thor 1, but Thor 1 was just so long ago that I think I just need to go back. You know,
it might still be on your list.
because I didn't care for Thor 1. I didn't care for Thor 2.
Mhm.
I didn't. Now that I'm thinking about this topic, I really Guardians 2 was like really put under the microscope because I think there are movies that like are really highly contested. One of which I heard being Thor Ragnarok and Guardians Volume 2, where it's either on people's top 5 or their bottom 5, and they're like, oh well, let's talk about that. But for sure, you know, Doctor Strange, like the whole thing with Tilda Swinton, like I love Tilda Swinton, but like that really took me out, even though it had Mads Mikkelsen.
I was about to say, you just tried to
Stop. That's not this. That's not this. Whatever that is not this.
He just tried to cape for it though.
I didn't. I said it had Mads Mikkelsen. That's it. I'm caping for Mads Mikkelsen. That's all I'm doing.
Oh man.
So
I'm tired of both of y'all.
That's
I've never been so tired.
he started a business with us.
Oh god.
Age of Ultron, Doctor Strange. I forgot about Iron Man 3. I'm glad y'all said that. I put it out of my mind. Age of Ultron, Doctor Strange. I wasn't gonna say Captain Marvel. Endgame. With the rest of Thor 1 and Thor 2 and whatever, everything else that everybody else said. Y'all can go. I ain't got no hot takes. I don't know nothing about anything.
Okay.
As soon as they make a Green Lantern John Stewart movie, though, listen, okay, I'm going to be there with nukes.
Jenna, you want to go ahead?
All right, sure. So a few of mine are the same. The two that I have on my list that no one else has mentioned is Ant-Man and Ant-Man and the Wasp. It just was not. So, first of all, I love the character of Ant-Man in an ensemble cast. I did not really I thought it was kind of boring, to be honest. I just did not like him on his own. But in Civil War, he was cool. I liked him in Infinity War and Endgame, but I just could not get into the two Ant-Man movies. So fight me on that. But
wow. Square up. Let's go.
Really
Parking lot.
defensive.
3 o'clock. What's up? Like,
come see.
I feel like there are a lot of people who would be like, "Whoa, hold up there!" But Guardians 2 also. Wait, what?
I was going to say Ant-Man is on that list of contested ones where people either love it or they hate it.
I have
Yeah,
questions.
Yeah.
I don't disagree. I just have questions.
Let her
Yeah.
So Guardians 2 also on my list. Again, I didn't like it. I don't know. And to be honest, I don't remember anything about it except that he had an asshole father. And I'm like, well, there you go. I mean, we could have figured that out from the flashbacks in Guardians. Like that was
We
an
could have
anything.
figured that out from every other male MCU character.
Yes.
Because they all have.
I
Daddy
love
issues.
having bots on here because they're like, you thought Big Dan was bad.
I appreciate y'all though.
But it's like it's from such a great place of
It's organic, I think.
yeah, it's just
very
like
organic.
it's just like, oh no, you're actually like, okay, that's right. You're valid. It's
It
great.
did. So yeah, I don't think it was anything new. Like I did like the original Guardians. I thought, it was, hey, this is a new group. It's a different side of the MCU, whatever. But I could not get into Guardians 2. And I didn't really believe him and Gamora's relationship. I don't know. Like to me, it just didn't. It didn't seem. I don't know. I wasn't into the non-chemistry
Gonna be a no
between
for me,
them.
dog.
Yeah.
Right. That's absolutely 100%.
That's another podcast. Which
Yeah, because
which
Lily has words
romance
about
do you
another.
actually believe?
Lily has words
In the
about another
MCU.
relationship. And
A lot of
we
them
can
are
get
just
into
kind of
that.
slapped
Is it the Hulk
together.
and the Black
Yeah.
Widow?
No.
Or
Is it
Yeah,
T'Challa?
yeah.
Sharon and Steve.
No, they just were. Yeah.
Steve,
That
no.
was
This
They
is a
were
great
just
podcast. You
literally
gotta-
slapped
This
Give me the
is
shitty
absolutely
podcast.
another
because she was there.
episode. Like,
that's
all right, let me go on.
MCU.
So, Doctor Strange. First of
Yeah.
all, I will admit that my experience with the comics was mostly limited to X-Men and Black Panther. I did not, maybe a couple Avengers, but like I was heavily an X-Men fan. So most of my Marvel experience was based on that. I never heard of Doctor Strange until they started talking about it, and then I did some research, but I just wasn't really into it. I mean, I guess I kind of get redemption stories, but like he was an asshole too. Like before he, like, okay, he was a great surgeon, right? But he was like fucking Dr. House. Like nobody liked him because he wasn't very nice. Right.
Mhm.
And it was his fault also.
And
So like
he was texting while
I don't really
driving.
have much sympathy for him. But
Yeah.
whatever. Also going into Also, it's this white man going into this to an
Oh, and did
Asian
you?
country,
Yep.
and I don't know, like
Iron Fist.
right. It just was not working for me. I'm just like, all right, another white man going into an Asian country, learning their ways and everything, and bringing it back to the people.
Appropriating.
Right?
Oh,
Like, no,
It's not
it
enough.
was-
It's not enough podcasts in the
There's not
season.
enough podcasts. We gotta do like a whole like series of breaking down each movie and going into this. That could be like a whole 4 seasons of this.
All right, and then my last one.
them all though.
Yeah.
What? Yeah. And my last one is same thing that both Jillian and Lily said, and my words on it are, of course, the same. Captain Marvel, I thought it was performative feminism. It, I was not into it. It was white women feminism, and they stuck this, Monica in as the sidekick. Oh, because black women were always the sidekick. We can't be the main character. Like, what's that about? Let's not have that. So yeah, I was not into Captain Marvel that much. Although I will have to say, the one thing I did like about Captain Marvel, and it sort of goes back to Thor Ragnarok as well, is I'm very big on like nostalgia, and growing up in the 80s and the 90s, both of them had a lot of nostalgic content to it, and pop culture and the blockbusters and the like, all of that kind of, I did appreciate that in terms of just like what it was for, but the actual storyline of Captain Marvel I was not into.
Right.
Makes sense.
Just to clarify, Maria was the sidekick and Monica was her daughter.
All right. My bad. I'm sorry.
I have feelings about Monica
their
Rambeau.
names.
So.
I get them mixed
Ooh.
up.
Yeah.
We don't have time to get into the feelings about Monica Rambeau.
No, we don't. But
Don't?
No.
not for this one. But we will get.
Patreon.
They're not going away. We can always
Right.
reach out to them and talk about this.
I feel like I'm going to like when we're doing the show notes. I'm going to rewatch this and like literally like write down
I do.
everything.
You can do the show notes.
I'm not going to do the show notes. I'm just saying. I
Whoa now.
I picked my role.
All right. For the, I don't even know. I'm bringing up the rear here just because I feel like as far as comic books are concerned, and these being comic book adaptations, I do feel probably the next to being the most qualified. I don't know how, what literary level of comic books you guys have, so I don't want to say that proceed to be the best here or perceive myself as the best. However, here we are.
You're so pretentious.
That was pretentious, and I felt it trying to like not say it, and it was like very much double Dutch, and I was like, you know what? I'm just go ahead and do it.
Challenge
yeah.
one.
I'm gonna just start off with the Captain Marvel because, like, I feel like to me that was always the worst one.
The
It's
worst?
just-
Bottom of
it's
the barrel.
Bottom of the barrel for me.
Bottom of the barrel.
Bottom of the barrel. However, the feminist perspective, I just was like, you don't talk about that. That's not you. You stay in your lane.
Know your lane.
So there was some, and I'm doing my best to say this correctly. There were themes that the movie wanted to push hard outside of just the feminist role or perspective. With the Skrulls, they very much wanted you to like get their stance on immigration. And I was like, I get that. However, we are here for a superhero movie. And anyone who's ever read a comic book knows that the Skrulls aren't just some misunderstood people. They are not just an alien race that, needs
looking for
protection.
asylum.
No, that looks for asylum or needs protection. No, they have always been the villain. There are some that like become half human or like integrate into society. But when you say the Skrull race, the entire planet, they are always throw hands first, ask questions later,
Steal people's memories later.
So they've stolen bodies. They've been body snatchers in the comic books.
Mm-hmm.
They have like literally. There's one that has all 4 of the Fantastic Four's
Super
powers,
Skrull.
and is just like always throwing hands whenever you see him. And there's some who have like seduced and like.
We ain't gotta get into it.
No, I'm just saying it's wild. It's a wild thing when you just like try to create a
Skrulls
narrative.
is wild out here. In the
Yes,
streets.
they are. But like,
I mean,
the MCU
but
tried to
look,
create.
Marvel is always doing that. I mean, Shang-Chi,
Yeah,
they're very good
And
at making the villain into a misunderstood semi-hero.
talk about it. I ain't mad. She's not wrong.
She's not wrong.
And
She's correct.
we know. There's him. Yeah.
There he is, Sean.
Yep.
I love
Tony,
Tony. I love Tony Long, so I got
The
his
actual
Funko Pop.
Although he's not called
He's
that.
like one of my
Right.
favorite
That was a
actors.
name given to him because of
The Mandarin.
stereotypes and racism. So
Right.
What's that?
anyway, can't linger on that one.
Oh yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
Captain Marvel just it was trying to do too
Yeah.
much, and I think because of that, it got lost on what the intent of the movie was supposed to be, to set up her character for Infinity War and End Game, because she didn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
All we saw was we saw Nick Fury reference like, "You think you're the only ones," or pull out some really old beeper that was modified for space communication.
Space beeper.
So yeah, it tried to be too many things and didn't land, and so
It's like-
and then still established a whole nother alien race as villains.
Mhm.
The whole Kree race is villains, and they're anyway. So
I was about to ask so many questions. We're about to go down a rabbit hole.
yeah,
That was a rabbit hole.
So
Yeah.
I like I said, I didn't like Captain Marvel for different reasons. So that's my bottom of the barrel. Iron Man 3 is a close second because Lord, from all of the things it tried to do with Extremis, which is a big storyline for Iron Man.
Yes.
An important storyline for Iron Man, given like his alcoholism, and I get how much after a while the fatigue of superhero movies often is focused on the fatigue of white men. They did it in the second, and they did
Did they
it
even
in
bring
the
up
beginning of the third.
alcoholism
the third was really
in that
more focused
movie?
on
I don't
panic
think
attacks,
so,
wasn't
because
it?
I think
Right,
Disney
that was
would have
I
been.
feel like-
that was his come down from alcoholism.
Yeah, I
Right.
think.
Yeah,
I
like,
think
I
they
think-
touched on it, and I
I
think
feel like
that's
they were
how they
just like,
touched
oh, well,
on
he's
it.
just
Like,
partying
he just
a lot.
parties.
Not
But
lot.
it was,
Yeah,
there
right?
was
Like-
alcoholic.
there was like actual
Yeah.
direct scenes that linked to the storyline of Demon in the Bottle, which is a very popular Iron Man run. So that's where, once again, it was a movie that tried to do too many things. And so with referencing the Mandarin and then it being a white man, that was just a bad thing. It was such a bad thing.
I was so
Yeah,
excited
and
for the
I appreciate
Mandarin
it.
to
I
come
did say
up,
this in our
and
Shang-Chi
then
review.
I
just
love Ben
them making
Kingsley, but
apologies for Iron Man 3 because they knew it was bad. I feel like it might be, for most popular review, the worst MCU movie.
Yeah.
But anyway, what was next? Thor: Dark World. When I'm talking with my family, because they're also very much into this, we established what are called Infinity Stone movies, and Thor is one of those. Thor: Dark World is one of those. Doctor Strange is one of those. Ant-Man is one of those. And so those kind of movies are just like literally placeholders that get you from point A to the next point, and get you to the next big event. It didn't do enough to make me care about Thor, who is my favorite superhero of all time. And then they had to figure out a way to write out Jane, because they were just like, this is going nowhere. There was almost no on-screen chemistry, and I'm like, maybe it's because she didn't believe it.
Yeah.
And,
wait, is that Anna Kendrick?
Say that again.
Yeah, like in the end scene. In the end scene, when he comes back to her apartment and they kiss, that's actually his wife. Chris Hemsworth's wife.
I think also
the
like
stand-in for Natalie Portman. So that should tell you everything you need to know.
He didn't want to do any forced romance stuff.
Okay, that's another thing.
Do what you got to do.
Because when the cameras go off, you still gotta. Hey,
she go on talking about really kissed Natalie Portman really hard there.
I've
seen the prequels.
Right. I get it.
You don't want to have that conversation.
He made a choice.
Right.
I appreciate it.
Smoke desired. None.
Right. It did a setup for the Infinity Stone, but then also didn't establish it as an Infinity Stone. And then there was like the death scene with Loki, and I'm like, bro, he only been around for like 2.5 movies, bro. You're not really sad. The actual setup of the villain there was poorly executed, largely because that is like one of Thor's major villains. And I was just
his sister or his mom?
No, the elf.
The dark elf.
I was thinking Ragnarok.
Malekith.
Okay, yeah.
Malekith is like, there's
No,
just a lot of things that could have happened there that they
Dark
did not
Elf.
do, which makes sense for Love and Thunder Thor, because now we'll see what happens there. But anyway, what was my next movie? Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Lord have mercy.
Really?
Hated it.
Really?
Hated it. One, for the origin of Star-Lord. Largely,
okay.
You don't pick a big name like Ego, who is like almost like celestial level great, like power level, and then just be
Okay.
like, oh, that's his dad. That's
By
just
the
like
way-
Scrubber dad. It's
That's
fine.
like-
By
they were
the
just like,
way-
yeah.
Right.
It
Yeah.
was like that's his daddy, and
Out of Pappy.
right. And then to turn out like
Daddy issues.
he's-
Season 1 of the Blurred Bar.
yeah, but then he's like out here in these universal streets of just like planting his seeds. He's like, you know how many have failed, how many kids I've had, and then just watch them die. I'm like, bro, huh? Like, no. How are we okay with this being a storyline? So he's just like, I'm out here planting seeds, literally. No, fam. Like, stop. It just was not okay.
Stop it. Get some help.
And then I love the line is like, I'm Mary Poppins, y'all, but that was like the only thing. Everything else he's like, I'm your daddy, boy. The whole he may have been your daddy but not your father, whatever the line is. I don't care. It just, if anything, it was a setup for when they showed up in Infinity War, and they were just like, here's what the Guardians of the Galaxy has been doing. And if anything, they should have focused on just setting up Adam Warlock instead of making us wait till this third one, which I'm not excited for anymore. And then my last but not least is what was it? I have the list right here.
Yeah,
Right.
it's important. It's not Shang-Chi though. I know that.
It's not Shang-Chi.
This whole thing was born out of me getting played. So we got like a couple great episodes. We got a bunch of great podcasts coming out of it. But I would like to point out this started about me getting played. So y'all welcome.
I think it was Captain America.
The first
one.
Avenger?
The first
The
Avenger.
first
Yes.
Avenger.
Oh, no. It's Captain America Civil War.
Oh, how did we forget Civil War?
That makes
Civil
sense.
War
I
is
did-
terrible.
That makes
That
more
makes
sense.
sense for you.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
forgot.
If I had a
Yeah.
top pick, it would be Captain America First
Yeah,
Avenger.
no, Civil War.
But
Jillian got to come back because she got to explain herself.
right.
Where did she?
Captain
I know.
America
Right?
Civil War was just you don't take one of the most iconic Marvel storylines
Ever.
of like, I wouldn't even say ever because it's still kind of like maybe in the top 10, right?
Mhm,
But
mhm, mhm.
I would say the last 20 years,
Okay.
iconic. It's bringing the entire Marvel universe together and like making them pick sides. And you're like, no, we're going to get 8 people and see how this plays out. And then like
Yeah.
making about Tony Stark's dad. And I was like, bro, that is not what this is. And I don't appreciate what y'all have done. I felt like the line from Godfather, look how they massacred my boy. I felt very much like I was just like so hyped about this movie, and then for it to play out the way it did.
So here's my question about that though.
Yes.
I feel like if with Civil War being as big as it was in the comics,
Uh-huh.
it seems like what they should have done, correct me if I'm wrong, is like that could have been literally either its own series or its own MCU arc. Like it should not have been just a movie.
No. All they had to do, and this, correct me if I'm wrong. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong.
Here, but hold on.
Holding.
Logistics.
Holding.
The logistics of having everybody who's involved in the comic book of the Marvel, Civil War.
Right.
The logistics of paying for all those people
Right.
on stage
Mm-hmm.
or on screen
Would have been the
rather,
same caliber as End Game and Infinity War.
if not
Infinity
more.
If not more. If not more.
If not, but well, hold on. Just let me make
Okay,
one,
go ahead,
one
go.
point. And if I'm bugging, tell me I'm bugging. Right. All they had to do. Wait, no, I'm gonna wait because she about to come back.
I want to know.
Now it's my turn to charge my level 3 super.
Right.
I have feelings. Dan, please. I guess I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna
Okay,
wait right
yeah.
here because I
You wanna wait.
want to see it. I want to know it was me.
Tell her it was
Yeah. So while
There you are.
Jillian Sterling was waiting for you to return because he has some feelings about Captain America: Civil War. I put that on my list as like one of my.
And it should have been
bottom
the
five.
worst one. My bad. I don't even. I pushed it out of my mind. Okay.
But hold on, really quick.
Yes.
So, the devastation and the effect that Civil War had on the Marvel universe had so many like what came out of that was not just like a dissension of like superheroes and their friendships. Like there was people like Aunt May who got shot and was on her deathbed. Like Peter Parker had revealed his face to the world. It was like pure chaos in the comic books, and Captain America got shot on like courthouse steps at the end of it, and you're like, what? Like all of those things. You watch a black man get brutally murdered by a clone of Thor, and you're like, how are we not having this in a movie? Like, how do you, if you're going to use that name, how do you not take all of that and put it all together? That being all said, I think it was a poor choice for that to be a Captain America story. You could have done something similar. You could have referenced it, right? But you could have been like, we don't want this to turn into a civil war, and that could have been it. And then have like a small scale hero versus hero like you wanted to do. But I don't think they should have used the name. And then for the villain to turn out to be like a low key white privileged Nazi who they don't want to talk about him being a Nazi, but they're like,
oh, but
he's kind of a Nazi. And they're just
but he likes having gay,
right? So it was just like, it was very ineffectual, and it was very irresponsible, I think, of Marvel to like just proceed with that storyline and just get it out of the way. Given now that they own so many properties now, like before they didn't have X-Men, before they didn't have Fantastic Four, but like those are now characters you could have put together and been like, oh,
do they have X-Men now?
Yes.
Yeah. That's like,
Yeah.
yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like you have Fantastic Four, you have X-Men, you have like you brought Venom into the universe. Like there's so many things.
Well,
so
hold on. So what were you going to say? Because here's what I said. Here's what I said, and then I'm setting you up.
No, go ahead. Listen.
I feel like hearing about what Big Dan and a lot of other comic book connoisseurs have said about Civil War and the lack thereof of the movie is I think that it would have cost too much to put actually like what the comic books did. It would have cost too much to put it in a movie. I think you could have done it in an arc or in like the Disney Plus series or whatever, but to put it in a singular movie,
no.
I think that was wrong.
Right.
Go ahead.
All they had to do, and now WandaVision proved that they could do it. All they had to do was say Captain America 3. Take the Civil War tag off of it, because putting the Civil War tag on it sets it up for failure. Like if that movie was Captain America 3, I wouldn't care. It wouldn't even be in my top 5. It would my bottom 5. I mean, like it would have been fine. And then you know what else they would have done? Now they have the option, because Civil War wasn't about the Sokovia Accords; it was about Speedball in them, right? Like
it was technically so the Sokovia Accords were similar to the government
school blowing up.
Yeah. It was the responsibility of like superheroes. Like, are y'all responsible for the damage you cause? On the same part, like if you're not being trained, bro, like are you supposed to be out here? And
you shouldn't be in the streets,
right? So it was a similarity there, but the actual like manifestation of how it came out to be would have been different. And I mean, they did have 2 catastrophic events. However, Age of Ultron did not set it up in a way that made you feel like, oh, there's definitely going to be a civil war.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but and I think they proved that they can do this with WandaVision, because WandaVision had enough. Like we all looked at it and was like, that's House of M-esque. Like we know what they're referencing. They didn't call it like House of Wanda, like House of M. If they called that House of M and we got WandaVision, how would you feel?
Oh, that would have been it for me. That would have been it. I was like, y'all fooled me twice.
So that's how
would have been a got him, and then like Disney walking off laughing all hard, and I would have been like, I'm gonna see you in these streets, man.
Never again.
That's just my feelings on Civil War. And Civil War to me is so personal, because like it was basically like the breakdown for me of like, oh snap, everybody's just in New York. Like everybody's just in New York. And I read like Civil War X-Men, Civil War Spider-Man, Road to Civil War, like all of it.
I mean, but like that's what I'm saying. It was just such a big impact. Like it was affecting like marriages. Like Black Panther and Storm were married at the time, and they were like, I'm picking sides.
Sue and Reed
were like, hey, we're not on the same side, fam. I'll see you at dinner time, but after that,
Wow.
Like there was
Very,
legit marriages that were broken up about this, and people were getting like superheroes were being arrested and like
42, dude. They
Yeah.
couldn't talk about because 42 is a violation of human rights, so
Right.
they couldn't talk about.
And then
42.
there was
Right.
freaking like I said, Spider-Man and
very
Black Goliath.
2016 voting.
Yeah.
Gee.
So,
But Jillian, what did you think? I just wanted to set it up.
I needed you
Sorry.
to be back because I needed to hear your
Yay.
words. I like your words, I really do.
So this is why I put Civil War in my top 5 and not my bottom. I don't know. I guess I just like
Right?
as like its own. So I'm not thinking about the comics. I'm thinking about the MCU as its own entity, its own world, and I just thought I really liked how everyone was brought together again, even though it wasn't about like saving the world from like one big issue. There was actually like because like they can't get along all the time. They always had differences of opinions, but it was kind of like, oh, that's just Tony, he's, kooky and he's rich and it's just, but there's like totally different ideals, like how Tony thought that Steve would be okay with the signing the Accords just because he brought his dad, who was like his friend's like pens that he used with FDR. I don't know. It's just like how they like finally realize that they don't really like yeah, they have this whole like connection because they saved the world together a couple of times. They don't actually really know each other and like really understand each other as like fundamental human beings, aside from what powers they can bring together as a collective. Actually Steve has feelings about certain things and Tony disagrees, and like that's fine. They never really like talk about it. They're just kind of like sent out and like they make a couple quips at each other, and I think it was just interesting to see everybody like kind of on like a certain level, like, well, this is actually how I feel fundamentally, and yeah, we're on a team that has been effective before, but now there's actual issues, like because Cap was all about defending Wanda and Tony was just like, like she's like this awful weapon. It's like, no, actually Wanda is a human being and we need to take that into consideration. And just like, he finally found his like Cap finally found his best friend Bucky, and like that's another thing. Like you guys just see the Winter Soldier. I see my best friend Bucky. So I really like that kind of like themes about like treating people like they're human. They're not just weapons. Like we're the Avengers. We're gonna come together and defend the I was gonna say the country, the world from this threat. But at the end of the day, what do I go home and what are my ideals, and what's really important to me is also like still important. And I liked that aspect of it, and I also liked having the introduction of Spider-Man. I wasn't expecting to like Tom Holland, but I really do as Spider-Man, and the kind of like this sort of forming friendship of Sam and Bucky, and getting some again, just kind of delving into like the humanness. Like, I mean, we open with like Tony showing like 100 people, MIT students, about his like darkest, like the thing that he most regrets is not saying anything to his dad and his mom right before he dies, and like just getting more in that humanness. And then the scene with Alfred Woodard, I could just go on all day. It's like, you guys just go and destroy stuff, but you don't actually realize there's humans in the building that you're destroying. So it was just interesting, that kind of juxtaposition with Wanda destroying that building, and then also Tony getting held accountable by Alfred Woodard, who was the mom of the young man who was in Sokovia volunteering, who was killed in the building. So it's just interesting. I just like, there's so many layers to everything, and that's why I like it.
Now I have to go back and watch it, and You talked me off my ledge
Oh,
for a second
okay.
because I was like, that's the hill I will die on.
There's some great.
I
Hey.
think
Great point.
I don't know. I think that some of Jillian's points I actually think are why I
Oh, okay.
don't like
Yeah.
those movies, because I just like, are you a superhero movie or are you a movie that is exploring trauma, right? And if you're exploring trauma, you're doing a really shit job at it. Sorry, you're doing a really bad job at it.
No.
Everybody gets one.
Everybody gets one.
Speak your truth.
Jenna had like 4, so you're fine.
I know, right?
And if you're a superhero movie, then you're doing too much by trying to even bring up the idea of
Okay.
trauma,
Mhm.
I guess, is really where
I have a question.
it
about
comes
that.
into me. Because if it was that thing, like Wanda got her whole thing, right? But like Tony, I don't know. I really don't like what the MCU did with Tony Stark. He had a problem. He had an addiction. He had, you know, the alcohol, the drugs, the
Mhm.
partying, all of it. And it wasn't just
Yeah.
partying, right? He wasn't just going out to the club or whatever. Like Tony had some
Mhm.
real issues. And after having seen outer space, when he flew that nuke in there, like, then this whole drive that he had to try to protect the world and
Mhm.
to know something else is coming, something bigger is coming. I'm the only one who could see this. I'm the only one who's talking about this. And then with the Accords and everything, like, it just, that part of it did not go through well in the movies. And I just think if you're going to bring that up, it's Chekhov's gun, right? If you're going to bring it up, then you got to do something with it. Otherwise, don't put the gun on the mantle.
Yo, they're deep, man.
Hey man, if you're
Did
not
you
listening,
expect anything?
if you're not
I
listening
know.
to the bots, I don't know
Right.
what you're doing.
Right.
Like, really, honestly, like,
If we lose half of our listeners to y'all, I'm fine with that. They'll have an education after that.
yeah.
Like, maybe they'll come back and be like, I'll have something off the top shelf. 80s.
We ain't no Vlad now.
Right.
Stop.
We're not Vlad.
No, we're not Vlad.
We're not Vlad, but we're not top shelf.
We're
like
the
the
we're the
bots.
small bottle of Grey Goose.
This might be this might be another podcast, but I have lots. I would love to hear more about because you know I mention on our podcast all the time the responsibility of storytelling, right? So
Yeah.
like if you have these, I think the transition from like old superhero tales to new superhero tales is that like old superhero tales, right, where like they're tying a person to the railroad tracks and we don't think about that villain. It's like, oh, we gotta
Yeah.
Those
stop. The person
were done
from-
in the 50s. If you read anything from the 60s on into the future, they have definitely touched on some stuff.
But no, I think he has a point where
He's
it's just
valid.
like
Yeah.
there are things where it's like, and even to like the breadth of the MCU, where it's like they didn't know how this was really going to work. Like they had a couple of quick hits, and it's like, okay, like we'll touch on Tony, but like it's not really like necessary, you know. To where now we have they have like their whole own digital platform where you can build a series around Wanda and her grief, right? Like, could Tony have gotten the same treatment?
No.
But why not? I get it, because he is like the Avenger, right? He's like on, like, we don't need to throw any more money and time at him, right? Pero like it is a disservice to not delve into those very specific things if that's what you're about.
That's why
What
I
are
think
you
that's-
about?
that-
And that's
that's
what
the
she's
point,
saying.
right, Lily?
Yeah,
She's
like
saying
that's what she's saying. It's like,
Right.
what are you about? Are you a superhero thing,
Right.
or are you just trying to be woke with the current trend?
I don't like that. I don't like the word. Anyway,
Ugh.
I have to agree. Like Civil War, I didn't like because I just honestly I thought it was white men fighting, and I was just like, it was white men
And
fighting,
Black
trying
guys.
to
And
prove
Black guys.
that one or the other was more interested in protecting the people, but in the end, you know, most of the places where they were protecting the people from some sort of villain were, you know, brown or marginalized people, or what some people would consider third world countries. And I'm just like, all right, well, you know, this is just a bunch of white men fighting. Like, what does this have to do with me? I felt no connection to it.
Wow. Okay. That's right. I know we gotta get ready to wrap up here, but I mean, like I said, dude, our podcast is right ourselves.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
really,
Talking about stuff.
it's like I have a whole dozen ideas now.
Yeah.
I gotta write these down. Actually.
We'll go back and review the notes, take ideas. But as my co-hosts have said, I think we come to the end here. I think this is a really good thing for both podcasts because I think now we've all walked away with topics that we can either address in our own podcast or together, or I think it should be kind of par for the course, and even some discourse in the blurred community to kind of not like just hold things up because they happen, right? Like we should be able to take them under a microscope and say, hey, here's why I didn't feel represented. I think sometimes we like the fact that we got something.
Yeah.
Like, and America is very much like, y'all got something. Be happy.
Y'all always asking for something here.
They're not just
Yeah.
give you.
Did not Black Panther make a lot of money? Are you not okay with that?
Are you not entertained?
T'Challa was Star-Lord. You guys love space, right?
But I think, like you said, if they're trying to produce themes in their storytelling, then those are things that we can definitely unpack. And I think it's important that for the future generations, right, even if they're not listening to our podcast, that these are topics that get talked about because we are responsible for the creation of media. They're making it because they know we'll watch it. And I think it would even be smart and prudent for those who are creators of color to hear stuff like this and then just know, like, just don't follow the beats, right? Don't follow the instructions.
Right.
Be very conscious of the decisions and storytelling that you want to make. And
Right.
I'm so glad that like the discussion of the bottom of 5 of MCU turned into actually intellectual conversation, and it wasn't just like I didn't like the fighting in this one.
Whoa.
Yeah.
You got bird on the street, dog. You gotta respect.
No. I'm just saying. I'm glad that it didn't just like that wasn't the conversation, right? Like we were very intelligent about this. So, thank you guys once again. Our sister podcast, Word on the Street. I don't know if they call them that. Like
I know.
We
It's
say
just,
that here.
It's really easy for that.
It's a term of endearment. Okay, we just want to make sure we're clear on that.
Yeah.
And once again, tell them where they can find you and follow you guys.
All right. So you can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Blurred on the Street. Also on YouTube, we're Blurred on the Street. And on Twitter, we are just Blurred Street. And if you look at our anchor.fm/Blurred on the Street, you can find us on iTunes or Spotify, Google Play.
Or Podbean.
Yeah.
Podbean.
Any podcatcher, you can find us.
Right.
Hey, we can't,
It's anchor.fm/blurred-street.
Yes.
Important.
That is important.
We really can't thank you guys enough. We're looking forward to having you back. We're looking forward to coming on over, checking out the street, And
Absolutely.
thank you guys. Thank you all, Barflies. Before the end of this video, stop, go subscribe to them if you haven't. Follow them on everything. You're going to see a lot more of them. Thank you guys again.
Yeah. And
Great.
as
Thank
always,
you.
I'd like to say, have a blessed night. Peace out.